introduce yourself?
Okay, so my name is Moses. So right now I'm gonna give you just a brief idea about this plant and how the Egyptians in the old times they used it for making the first paper ever made by a human being. Well, actually, the papyrus plant was considered as a holy plant in ancient times. That's because of two main reasons. The first reason, it's the flower. It should be bigger than this actually. It looks a bit like the sun rays. That's the symbol of Amun-Ra, the god of sun in the ancient time. The second reason was the stem. Well, this is the only plant which has this triangular stem. It looks exactly like one face of the pyramid. The pyramid was the symbol of eternity in ancient days, and that's why the ancient Egyptians used to worship this plant in the old times. To make the paper itself, first thing we do is we decide the size we need. The plant grows over 3 meters. It needs two things to grow: very hot weather, lots of water at the same time. So we just decide a little one like this, for example, and then we remove the outer green skin. This part is very strong and it's very flexible as well. The ancient Egyptians used it for making things like ropes, hats, baskets, even boats, by the way. Someone from Norway, actually, he made a boat out of this greenish part. His name is Tolhaider.
Yes.
Kantiki, you remember.
Oh, Kantiki.
Yes. So this is here the main part we use for making the paper. So we just divide it into slices, like this. But now you see the slices are so fragile, just because the slices contain lots of water, sugar, and also fibers inside. To make the slices flexible, we have to squeeze the water out by using this rolling pin. We also break the fibers inside the slices, just like this. So now it's much flexible and stronger than before. And then we put the slices in the water here for 2 days to reduce the sugar. We have to change the water every day. Well, you can see here the color completely changes. It's darker, lighter, and so on. So it's 2 days only if you want to get this color. If we left the slices longer time in the water, like 10 or 15 days, it gets the dark brown shade. The dark papyrus, it's exactly the same quality, by the way, but it takes long time, whether to make the paper or to paint on it as well. After the time in the water, we arrange the slices in horizontal and vertical positions between two pieces of carpet like this, or two pieces of cotton. The ancient Egyptians in the old days, of course, they didn't have what we use now, so they used the linen in ancient times, so everything was natural actually. So we arrange them like this way, for example. We can, by the way, overlap the slices, or we can flap the slices. It needs to be horizontal and vertical, that's all, and that's what makes the paper strong enough. Well, so on and so on, till we complete the sheet we want, and then we're gonna keep all the slices under this press here for 6 days. This is the only different thing actually we use. The ancient Egyptians used instead heavy stones, by the way. So during the 6 days under the press, the slice is gonna stick together naturally. That's because of the cellulose inside the fibers. That acts like a natural glue. No chemical materials at all, by the way. And then this is what we get in the end. Whether this or the brownish paper, it's the same thing. So you can see the paper is quite strong, very flexible and very smooth as well. It's all natural, by the way. That's why the paper lasts many years. You can tell actually forever, never fade, except any type of colors, any, like watercolors, oil colors. You can write in it, use any kind of ink, whatever. Against the light, you can see easily the horizontal and vertical arrangement like this. That's what makes the paper that strong, by the way. Right. So this is about the paper. You can even touch it, so you can see it's very soft, so you can use it easily. So this is all about the paper. So have you been to the Egyptian museum or Not yet.
Yeah.
You've been there?
Yeah.
Cool. Have you seen that story of the Judgment Day?
Mm-hmm.
You've seen that? Cool.
The
That's-
picture of it.
the balance of justice,
Yeah.
the heart of the feather, soul. Well, this is it. This is what I'm talking about, actually. But actually, this one is not exactly like one you saw in the Egyptian Museum. The one you saw is black and white, and the opposite side, and it's a bit different. There is another copy which is exactly the same thing and the same details. That's the one we have in the British Museum in London, by the way. You know the story of the Judgment Day talks about the afterlife. The ancient Egyptians believed that everyone after this life must be judged. So it's a kind of like a message for everybody, telling them this life is not the end, so everybody should be ready for that day. When you concentrate on the ideas the ancient Egyptians thought about in this story especially, it's so close to what we do now, actually. So the story starts from here. This is the dead person. In the beginning, he's giving the offerings to 14 jurors. They ask him what he has done during his life. They ask him around 120 questions about his lifetime. Well, they give him rights to talk and prove that he was good. So he's kneeling down, lifting his hands, swears. He's trying to convince them all that he was a good person during his life, didn't do nothing bad. But you see here, only the half are raising the key of life. That's the symbol of life in the ancient days. They believed he was good. He says the truth. The others are not convinced. This is so close to the way of jurors we use nowadays. But in this case, the half only doesn't help. So they have to make sure. And that's why they send him down here. Down here, no more talk. It's over. Anubis, the god of mummification and medicine in the ancient days, is leading him to the balance of justice, weighing his heart against the feather of justice and truth. You know the ancient Egyptians used to mummificate the bodies. They used to take all the organs out.
Yes.
They used to leave the heart inside the body. They believed that everything we do in this life goes to the heart, whether good or bad. What makes the heart heavy, it's only the bad deeds, by the way. So if his heart was heavier than the feather of truth, that means he was a guilty person during his life. In this case here, Sobek or Amham, that's the god of punishment in the ancient days, waiting here, watching everything going on, just to punish this person by eating his heart. Eating his heart, it's symbolic. It means this person will just get lost or disappear, no afterlife for him. In this case, the feather of truth was heavier, so he was good. He was telling the truth, he was okay. He passes with Horus. That's the god of protection and sky in ancient days. Even from Horus came the word horoscope, by the way. He's introducing him to his father, Osiris. That's the god of paradise and heaven in the ancient days. Behind him, two ladies, they assist him. Isis, his wife, the goddess of love, justice, and peace in ancient time. Nephthys, his sister, the goddess of magic in the old days. Here, for the first time, you see the kids, the 4 kids of Horus above the lotus flower. That's the symbol of love on Upper Egypt. Papyrus plant, that's the symbol of peace on Lower Egypt. Both are coming from the same way, the river Nile. That's the symbol of eternity in ancient days. This part here shows you the unity between the upper and lower, because Egypt was 2 different countries in the old days. In the top here, the eye of Horus, that's the eye of protection and against the envy. Actually, this is the source of every eye they believe in, like evil eye and things like this. Wings and feather, that's truth and justice in ancient days. Final thing we have here is God Thoth, or Tot, the god of writing and wisdom in ancient days, doing the same thing we do nowadays, recording everything going on the Judgment Day. The story here, it's written down in details in hieroglyphics, also comes with a description in English, by the way. This is the most famous and the most important story in all the Egyptian history, considered the only story in all the Egyptian history